Yet another voice memo has been unredacted in the Blake Lively Justin Baldoni case. And when you hear this one next to the context of the other texts, oh my goodness, Blake, you're terrible. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. More docket entries are still filtering out, and shout out over there to docketupdates.com. Go support Carol over there. And Clark on Reddit, who keeps going to the courthouse to get these larger files that Wayfarer couldn't put on the official docket. And we got a new voice memo, this time from Justin, that I want to play with for you because it gives a lot more insight at what the relationship was before it went south. And when you package it between the text message,
she sent it, a chilling comparison to Khaleesi, the villainous queen, declaring she had dragons that would protect those I fight for, promising Justin Baldoni he would benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. This wasn't a playful quip, it was a veiled threat, cementing a power dynamic that would soon explode. The message leaked in court documents painted a picture of a star in a complete meltdown, determined to get her way, no matter the cost to collaboration or relationships. Her private voice notes and texts revealed an aggressive pursuit of control that left everyone stunned.
You'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball busting would play. We've read this previously, but it never ceases to amaze me. It's my love language, spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth. But this is the woman that got offended when he said, "You look sexy." Oh my God. And him serving it back to her is just as important. You don't usually see both the man and the woman with such agency and humor. Anyway, I can act it out for you next week to make sure it comes through, or I can just send it now. Let me know what you prefer. Kisses, XX. I can act it out for you next week. S, kisses, kisses. How does Justin reply? Well, if you've been following, you know, he replied.
This bombshell emerged from a cascade of newly unredacted court documents and private voice memos in the ongoing Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni case. Updates from docketupdates.com, along with files from courthouse visits, have exposed intimate exchanges that shatter previous perceptions of the relationship between the two stars before their professional collaboration imploded. These revelations paint a starkly different picture of the early days, showcasing manipulation tactics that were chillingly strategic and deeply personal.
For kisses, XX, I can act it out for you next week. S, kisses, kisses. How does Justin reply? Well, if you've been following, you know, he replied by, "Sorry, was crying my eyes out as my kids and my family just left for another 5 weeks, and it was a S show. Heartbreak, heartbreak, heartbreak." And so, yes, he's not focused at all on her ball busting, flirty kisses. He doesn't care about any of it. He's bawling his eyes out as his family's about to leave him for 5 weeks. Blake's made a point of anytime he can't see Ryan for 2 weeks, she loses it too. So just kind of hilarious. That was his priorities, not flirting with Blake. And I'm sure she wasn't liking that. And then he does reply, yes, it's important to...
The very first exchanges set the stage. On April 8th, 2023, before production even began on their film, Lively sent a provocative text to Baldoni. "If you knew me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball busting would play," she wrote, adding, "It's my love language, spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth." This bold, suggestive opening hinted at a desire to establish a certain kind of intimacy, a move that would prove to be a foundational element in her attempts to assert dominance.
About Act 3, that's the mission. So they're like all aligned before things happen. And then I guess it's a photo of them leaving. That photo is devastating. So sorry for y'all. But the love is gargantuan and apparent. Yeah, it sure is. And you're destroying him and his family. Thank you for saying all this. Literally thousands of tape down the group of guys, young lilies, reading them 5, blah, blah. Anyway, little wow, so exciting. More emojis, things like that. So here, after that exchange, here is this new voice memo that Justin sent Blake. Let's listen together.
Hey, sorry, I couldn't get my voice memo to work. Hi, sorry I haven't responded. Believe it or not, I took 24 hours to be a normal person.
Baldoni's reply to Lively's flirtatious message was profoundly revealing, exposing his emotional state and starkly contrasting her tone. He responded, "My sorry, was crying my eyes out as my kids and my family just left for another 5 weeks, and it was a shtup show. Heartbreak, heartbreak, heartbreak." He was clearly not focused on her ball-busting flirty kisses, but grappling with immense personal pain. His vulnerability immediately highlighted a disconnect, as Lively, known for expressing similar distress when separated from Ryan Reynolds, seemed oblivious to his genuine anguish, prioritizing her own agenda.
Your ideas and the spirit of collaboration.
I pause just because that's going to come into play. He appreciates her passion. Remember that he said that because that's going to come to bite him.
And I know for a fact, like I just feel it in my bones, just how excited I am to work with you, just as a creative, because you give a shit, and that's so fucking cool. And
unlike a lot of actors who don't, I think he's making it clear. Yeah, we're looking forward to working together. It seems like they're about to make a great movie together.
And you're smart, and you're funny, and you're all the things, and you're clearly a great writer. And so yeah. So all in all, I just wanted to start with that. I think.
Despite the early emotional mismatch, their initial creative discussions appeared to be in sync. Baldoni and Lively were aligned on the vision for the film's central character, Lily, agreeing she needed to be strong and witty and playful and bold. He even expressed, "That's why I wanted you." They both concurred on the importance of aging Lily up, believing it would make the eventual devastating Act 3 more powerful. This shared creative enthusiasm created a deceptive facade, masking the underlying tensions and manipulative intentions that would soon surface in full force.
My God, the reciprocal creativity and support has been one of my life's greatest and most fulfilling gifts. Over your kids? When they loved and signed off on the pages, I felt good to send them to you. Notice how she's setting it up, this whole buildup of, yeah, these are amazing people. They're my everything. Not only Sean Levy's huge Hollywood director, Stranger Things, a lot of stuff. Taylor Swift, Ryan Reynolds. These are people to intimidate Justin with. Like, it's not just me, Justin. It's all these people who tell me I'm great, so you better too. So she's setting up this pressure for him. And then, there is her gifts. And they signed off on the pages. They asked what you thought specifically after. They kept checking in, guys.
Then came Justin's crucial voice memo, responding to Blake's script contributions. He began by apologizing for his delay, explaining he'd taken 24 hours to be a normal person with a friend after his family left, mentioning a day with comedian Hassan Minhaj. He then pivoted to praise, stating he appreciated her passion and the process, and your ideas, and you're the spirit of collaboration, adding, "I know for a fact, like there is a few of my bones, just how excited I am to work with you just as a creative, because you give a cheat. And that's so fucking cool." He noted her intelligence and humor and his intention to loop in his writer Christie later.
Blake, clearly this isn't a manipulation tactic that you're planting early to get control later, but I digress. It's more the principle that of the dynamics at play. They've watched the other side of it too, where I'm told at signing that I'm wanted as a true collaborator, but once we get to work, I'm really just wanted as a yes man audience actor. This is funny because you also admit you sign on and then you lie and then you become someone who takes over the movie. Interesting how the truth comes out. Later, both Ryan and Taylor have established themselves as absolute titans as writers and storytellers outside of their primary gigs, just singing and or acting, or Sean just directing. So lucky to have them as creative barometers. Notice she's dropping it again. You're going not only against me, but all of them, and they know what they're doing.
Blake's reaction to Justin's feedback was immediate and deeply telling. She wrote that his praise of her passion rather than specific contributions didn't feel great for me or them. This seemingly innocuous comment quickly escalated, revealing her expectation for outright validation, not generalized appreciation. It was a subtle yet profound indicator that her ego was easily bruised, setting the stage for her subsequent aggressive attempts to control the narrative and demand recognition, turning even positive feedback into a perceived slight against her creative genius.
Warning sign to him. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to tell you and I'm going to take charge. I guess she did warn him. And here it comes. If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that Khaleesi, who, spoiler alert, kind of was a villain in the movie. Turns out, kind of. I like her, I happen to have a few dragons, for better or worse, but usually for better. Because my dragons also protect those I fight for. So really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too. I can promise. Khaleesi, it's hard. You're rooting for Khaleesi. It's hard. It's more complicated. Those of you know what, like, yeah, her story is more important.
Her response then strategically dropped a series of high-profile names, explicitly intended to intimidate. Lively boasted about her dance mom stage-level moms, Ryan Reynolds, Taylor Swift, and Sean Levy, describing them as her most trusted partners and creative barometers. This wasn't just casual name-dropping, it was a carefully constructed assertion of her inner circle's influence, sending a clear message to Baldoni. Disagreeing with her meant disagreeing with a formidable network of Hollywood heavyweights. The pressure was palpable, and the implied threat unmistakable. The implication of these powerful connections was stark. Her gifts, the script pages she'd rewritten, had been loved and signed off by these titans. She claimed they kept checking in on Baldoni's reaction, suggesting their collective approval was paramount. Lively made it clear that her A-list friends weren't just personal confidantes, but professional co-signers of her creative work. This strategic deployment of her celebrity network served to amplify her demands, creating an atmosphere where Baldoni was made to feel he was not just challenging her, but an entire constellation of industry powerhouses. Lively then leveraged her past experiences in Hollywood to justify her assertive stance, recounting instances where she felt overlooked. She described directors being too afraid to send the FDX file and having her pencil rewrites hand-typed. She also spoke of being hired as a writer and paid a significant fee, but also in the condition that I never asked for credit. This narrative of past injustices painted her as a victim of the system, a backdrop against which her current aggressive tactics could be framed as a fight for artistic recognition rather than a power play. She continued to lament how she had been told at signing that I'm wanted as a true collaborator, but once we get to work, I'm really just wanted as a yes-man audience actor. This specific grievance, openly admitting to a pattern where she'd lie and then you become someone who takes over the movie, was a stark admission of her modus operandi. It revealed a deeply ingrained belief that true collaboration for her meant ultimate creative control, showcasing her willingness to manipulate situations to ensure her vision superseded all others. The crescendo of her strategic communication culminated in the chilling Khaleesi analogy. "You ever get around to watching Game of Thrones," she wrote, "you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi, who, spoiler alert, kind of was a villain. Turns out kind of I like her. I happen to have a few dragons for better or worse." This wasn't merely a pop culture reference, it was a direct, unsettling declaration of her intent to wield power, acknowledging the morally ambiguous nature of her chosen avatar. Lively further elaborated on her dragons, stating they usually for better because my dragons also collect to protect those I fight for. So really we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too, I can promise. This was a thinly veiled promise and threat rolled into one, positioning her powerful allies as enforcers of her will, implicitly warning Baldoni that his professional success was intertwined with her satisfaction. It was a terrifying glimpse into her strategic use of intimidation, masked as collaborative assurance. Justin's response to this lengthy, emotionally charged, and highly strategic message was markedly different. He simply wrote, wow, thank you for writing. I have so much to say, slow response." He explained he'd given a talk and was short on time, promising a voice memo later that night. His measured, almost apologetic tone stood in stark contrast to Lively's intense demands, highlighting his attempt to de-escalate the tension and maintain a semblance of professional harmony, despite the obvious pressure she was exerting. This early exchange laid bare Blake Lively's calculated manipulation tactics. From the initial flirtation to the strategic name-dropping of industry giants like Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift, and finally the chilling Khaleesi analogy, every move was designed to establish dominance and secure creative control. She wasn't seeking true collaboration, she was setting a precedent, pressuring Baldoni and intimidating him with the unspoken power of her celebrity circle, all to ensure her vision for the film was paramount. The entire narrative showcased Lively's love-bombing strategy, using flattery and playful flirtation early in the process to test Baldoni's boundaries and see which tactics would make him compliant. This was not about genuine connection, but about assessing how easily she could wrap him around her finger. Her swift pivot from compliments to veiled threats, when her passion was merely appreciated instead of her specific ideas being hailed as definitive, exposed the calculated nature of her approach. The stark contrast in communication styles was glaringly apparent. Baldoni consistently attempted to maintain a collaborative, open-minded approach, even when emotionally vulnerable. Lively, conversely, adopted an aggressive, demanding posture, framing her creative input as non-negotiable and backed by a formidable personal army. This imbalance created a toxic environment where genuine artistic partnership was overshadowed by a relentless push for unilateral control, setting the stage for an inevitable professional fallout. From an external perspective, the transcript reveals Lively as an incredibly difficult collaborator. The interviewer openly stated, "It's reiterating how much of a pain that I guess Blake Lively must have to work with." While acknowledging Baldoni was a greener director, the overwhelming sentiment leaned towards him being more reasonable, attempting to find a middle ground. Lively, however, was perceived as trying to steamroll it, determined to impose her will regardless of the collaborative spirit, confirming fears that she prioritized her own vision above all else. Blake's core demand was for her script ideas to be definitive, not simply a part of a collaborative blend. When Baldoni suggested they would find it together, combining elements and improvising, she took it as a personal affront. Her past experiences of being overlooked fueled her insistence that her current contributions be accepted without question. This uncompromising stance, refusing to allow for the natural evolution of a script that occurs on every film, ultimately drove a wedge between the creative partners, leading to this public and painful unraveling. The leakage of these private voice notes and texts offers a rare, unfiltered glimpse into the high-stakes, ego-driven world of Hollywood collaboration. It highlights how personal ambition, past grievances, and the strategic deployment of celebrity influence can derail even the most promising artistic partnerships. The true cost of creative control, it seems, can be a complete breakdown of trust, leaving behind a trail of leaked messages and reputations irrevocably altered in the unforgiving glare of the public eye.